What's up everyone, Bass Crispies here, and we're here with another intermediate tips and tricks for subharmonics. Today we're going to be talking about how to do subharmonics in a choral setting. For lots of people this is going to be really hard because when you're singing in a choir you have to match the vowel that everyone else is singing on, the volume that everyone's singing at, and the resonance that everyone's singing with. In fact, the concept of blending in a choral context is actually just a combination of those three areas. So let's break up subharmonics and let's learn how to adjust our sound to match those three areas. Just to prove that I do have experience in this area of singing, here are a couple clips of me singing subharmonics in a choral context. Never shall we die. Obviously, those are not the only times that I've used subharmonics in a choral setting. I had lots of rehearsals leading up to those performances that allowed me to kind of refine my technique. The first area I'd like to discuss is vowels, because this is where subharmonics actually shines when it comes to choral singing. Because the target note is one octave above the note that you're actually producing, you're allowed to have a lot more relaxed vowel shapes and vowel shapes that are closer to what the rest of the choir will be singing. Techniques like fry, growl, and throat singing all have much more limited vowel capabilities, and so subharmonics is actually probably the strongest contender for blending vowels together in a choir. Moving on to resonance. What I'm describing with resonance is a spectrum from the brightest, most nasal sound you can think of to the darkest, most swallowed sound you can think of. And this is probably the least important for blending when it comes to subs, but I'll still give a couple tips. The reason I'm saying it's probably the least important aspect is generally if you're doing subharmonics, you're laying the foundation, and so you're not really going for your voice to be heard as much as felt. That being said, if you're doing subharmonics during a quiet, more whispered part of a choir performance, you're probably going to want a darker sound. So instead of a standard maybe turn it back into Conversely, if it's meant to be very bright and in your face, but still on the quieter side, because you will lose some volume if you're doing it this way, you may want to bring out the more bright parts of your voice and have it be more in the nasal passages. So instead of yeah, it's gonna be yeah. And that takes us to the hardest part of blending with subharmonics, and that is volume. You are going to need to be very loud with your subharmonics if you want to be heard at all. And honestly, in other contexts, a subharmonic that you think is super loud and would definitely be able to be heard in a choir might not even make the cut. Like some of these clips, I don't know if that tone would work in a choir setting. Another thing that makes it very hard for subharmonics to be used in a choral context is the fact that if you push for volume, you will lose the connection and you won't be singing in subharmonics anymore. Volume in subharmonics comes from opening up the mouth and opening up the throat in such a way that it allows the most resonance to occur throughout your entire vocal tract. One trick that was taught to me by Tu Yang, the godfather of subharmonics, is singing the note on an NG vowel with the lips in whatever vowel you're supposed to be singing on, and then just undoing that NG vowel. I've also heard it called mirroring in the past, and then just letting it resonate after the constriction. Also, anytime I'm projecting subharmonics, I try to visualize a bubble about that thick around right behind my teeth, and that's where all the sound is coming from. That helps you use your teeth as resonators, and it helps keep that forward placement that will allow your sound to carry. And just like with any vocal technique, the more you practice and the more consistently you're trying to improve it, then the wider range you'll be able to have with it, both in like note range and also in volume. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all the info I have on the topic today, but I would love to hear your experiences. If you have any tips that have helped you to sing subharmonics in a choral setting, or if you think that I missed a really big aspect of it, please let me know in the comments. Anyways, do with this information what you will, and as always, stay bassy, my friends.